Hello there, and then welcome to a brand new lesson. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. I do hope you are doing well. Now, having looked at VAT, that is value added tax or sale tax, we looked at the definition and then the basic terminologies. And then finally, we also looked at the formula that we need to solve questions related to it. Having looked at all this in our previous video, let's quickly look at some questions or some practical applications. So our first question here says, a television set costs $800. That is the excluding VAT. If the VAT rate is 12.5%, what is the final price the customer pays? What is the final price the customer does what? Pays. So let's look at our solution. So from our previous lesson, we learned what the final price is. You see, so if we want the final price, that is after the tax was added to the original price, how much do you want to be paid? You see, and that is our base price plus the tax amount. And that simply means we first of all need to find our tax amount. Okay, so what then is our tax amount? We said the tax amount is the base price times the rate. So writing down our parameters, we have the cost, that is the basic cost, right? Or basic price to be 800. And then we have our rate, so our R to be 12.5%. You see, 12.5%. What is the final price the customer pays? And I said before we do that, we need to calculate the tax amount. And we know tax amount T is equal to the base price. So let me do it BP times our R, which is the rate. So our base price here was 800. So we have 800 times the rate. The rate is 12.5%. So 12.5%. What we do now is to simplify what we have over here. So let me just take it to this side, and then simplifying, we know these zeros, that is what we have as the denominator, would cancel out this one here. If you have a calculator, you can just punch and then go your way. But then since we are not having one here, let's see how best we can do that. So we have 8 times 12.5, and then 8 times 125 over 10. That is converting this into what? A fraction. And we can now proceed. So 2 divides 10, 5, and it divides 8 4 times. Do you see that? Then you have your 125 divided by your 5. So that gives you 5 into itself once, and then into 125 we have 25. So it simply means all you are left to do with now is to multiply your 4 by your 25, and that gives you your T, which is equal to 4 times 25, which gives us 100. So our T is what? $100. But was that what we were asked to solve for? No, it says, what is the final price the consumer or the customer pays? And we know from our previous lesson where I explained all the concepts that the final price is equal to your base price plus your tax amount. And we know our base price from the question to be what? $800. Then plus the tax amount, which we have solved to be what? $100. Adding that together gives us a 900. You see, so this simply implies that our final price, right, is equal to your $900. So this ends the first question. Let's take one other one just to enhance our understanding. So this question here says, a jacket is sold for a final price of $230. That is the including tax or including VAT. So if the VAT rate is 15%, what is the original price? That is the excluding VAT. Our solution. Now we know how to find the final price, you see. But before that, let's write our parameters now. So we have final price being equal to 230, and then your rate being what? 15%. We know that our final price, to solve for it, we need our what? Base price, then plus the tax amount. You see, we already have our final price. You see, so how do we find what it says? What is the original price? How do we get the original price? But looking at what we have, do we even have our tax amount? We don't have our tax amount yet. You see, earlier on in the introductory video, we saw that if you have your final price being given as base price plus base price times R, where base price times R gives us our tax amount, do you see? Then factorizing, we have what? Base price and base price out, you see? Then into bracket 1 plus R. So base price times 1 gives us base price. Then base price times R will give us this over here. So this simply means we'll have to get this formula to use. That is, final price is equal to what? Your base price into bracket 1 plus R. Do you see that? So this is the formula we want to employ. So we come back here, and instead of this, we can rewrite it as what? Final price is equal to your base price, then into bracket 1 plus R. Now what do we want? We want the base price as the formula has what? Or as the question has requested. So we divide both sides by what? 1 plus R. Do you see that? So that we make the base price the subject. So our final price is equal to base price into bracket 1 times R, 1 plus R, then dividing both sides by 1 plus R. We have all of these cancelling out. 1 plus R taking out 1 plus R. Then we have our base price being equal to what we have here on the left hand side. So that is your final price all over 1 plus R. So our base price now is actually equal to your final price, which was 230, all over 1 plus your R, which was 15 over 100. 15 over 100, that is 15%. Do you see that? Okay. So if you do want to change it into decimal, you can say that your base price is equal to 230 over 1 plus 15 over 100, which when we solve using the fraction method, we are going to get 115 over 100. You see, all this that I'm doing here, if you have a calculator, you can just punch it out and then you get your answer. But because we are not using that for this level, that is why we want to take our time and then go through it the right way. So our base price now can be written as, this one is longer, so we have 230 then divided by 115 over 100. That is 230 times 100 over the 115. You see that? And if you have to simplify further, you realize that 115 divides 230 twice. So we now have our base price being equal to your 2 times your 100, which is what? 200. That's our base price. So you see, just by knowing the basic formula, all we needed to do was to make what? The necessary algebraic change of subject, right? So we can then conclude that therefore the base price or the original price is equal to what? Your $200. And that is all. You see. So I advise that you master the formulas first of all and know your change of subject. If you know your change of subject, you can work all of this one. And also know your fraction. You see, this topic applies the knowledge from all these areas. And also know your ratio and proportion or proportional division. And you'll be good to go, because this is actually an application of all those topics. Here's how beyond numbers where we learn maths the easy way. As I usually do, I'll leave you with some exercises just to try on your own to test your understanding. So here you have just four questions. You can try to test your understanding. If there's anything, you can always let me know at the comment section. And if you have not watched the previous lesson, which introduced all the basic terms and then the formulas, then I would advise you do consider doing that before coming to try and then solve these questions. If this is your first time on this channel, this is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. You can choose to subscribe so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well. Stay safe, and bye for now.